Thanks, Kory. Well, men and women in law enforcement are putting their lives on the line year-round, all the time, to keep us all safe. Of course, it's no different. In fact, even more dangerous all the time during this coronavirus pandemic. Joining us live on the phone right now is Butte County Sheriff Kory Honea. Hi, Sheriff.
Hi, Hayley. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. Thanks for being with us tonight. We wanted to ask you a little bit about, just remind us again what you're doing to keep your deputies, all the staff of the Butte County Sheriff's Office safe during this time when even just close contact with another person could be dangerous.
Sure. So there's a lot of stuff that's being done at the Sheriff's Office to try to prevent or mitigate COVID-19 from interfering with our ability to provide for the public safety. Certainly on the streets, we've been making sure that our deputies are well aware of the risks. They've been provided with masks and gloves, eye protection, hand sanitizer. We've talked a lot about what they might do if they suspect they were exposed to a person with COVID-19. Recently ordered 1,200 COVID-19 tests that we'll have available for our deputies should the need arise. And then within the jail, we have developed a number of protocols to try to prevent or mitigate the spread of COVID-19 within the facility.
Okay.
That includes, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I'd like to talk about the jails in just a moment, but before we get to that, if you did have one of your deputies or one of your staff become infected, do we have the backup staffing to kind of fill in the gaps so there's no shortage of law enforcement officers out on the streets?
So certainly that's something that we are concerned about. Currently, my staff has maintained their traditional schedules. We've done that because we don't want to burn them out. That said, we have deputies that are assigned to specialty units that could come in and work in patrol to cover for those individuals if they were off. That was ultimately one of the reasons that we wanted to get the tests so that we wouldn't have to necessarily wait for the 14-day quarantine period to determine whether or not somebody was infected. We wanted to be able to test and get those results early so we could take the appropriate action. Okay.
And then now on to what you were saying about the jails. We're all just curious and maybe concerned as it's just this revolving door. People are coming in, people are going out. I know there's no confirmed cases out of Butte County Jail as of tonight. How are you handling that situation where people are in pretty close quarters?
Well, certainly, yeah. Custodial environments by design require people to be in close quarters, not only the inmates but staff. So early on, we've taken a pretty proactive approach to this. We developed enhanced screening so that anybody coming into the jail, both staff and inmates, have their temperature taken. They're asked questions to determine if they might have been exposed to COVID-19. We've sought increased authority from the court to release people or reject people from being booked if there is suspicion that they're infected. And in addition to that, we've built in the capacity to isolate people. We were doing fairly well managing that, and I think that we were well ahead of that. But then on April 6th, the Judicial Council of California passed a statewide rule that we think is problematic and could have an impact on what we're doing in terms of trying to manage it and perhaps having to accommodate additional releases that might pose a risk to public safety.
Okay, so no plans to move forward on this, releasing people early just because maybe to minimize population side. If somebody's committed a crime and they're in jail, they're going to stay there for now.
Well, that's not necessarily correct. No,
okay.
Actually, yeah, no, we've actually been working with our criminal justice partners in Butte County to address this court rule.
Okay.
The presiding judge, the district attorney, the public defender consortium, and my office developed a plan to deal with this order. Ultimately, what we have determined when we look at the rule and in context of the law is that those individuals who are in custody on misdemeanor crimes or those felony crimes that might come into play with regard to this zero bail order, they have the opportunity to have their cases reviewed by a judge to determine whether or not they should be released or whether they should be kept in custody based on the public safety concerns.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much for clarifying on that, and thank you for being with us here tonight, Sheriff.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.